Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video I'm going to show you some tips and tricks you can accomplish with the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. My particular model is the SMN920i. It's the international unlocked version. So I'm going to get straight into it. Now, of course, I'll just start with the S Pen stylus. This should be pretty much a given. So Samsung has included a new feature that if you eject it while the screen is off, you can immediately start taking a note. So you'll notice that there's not a lot of graphics there, but this is like a black notepad, so I can just start typing right away and I can save it. So whether you have a security lock screen or not, this immediate note-taking feature is still available to you. So while the screen is actually unlocked, actually in case anyone's interested in this live wallpaper, I'll put a link to it in the video description. Anyways, moving along, while the screen is unlocked, if you take the S Pen stylus out, this is the action command, or air command rather, window that's featured especially for this S Pen stylus. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. So you can enable that menu even if you just press the button on the S Pen stylus right there. So I'm just going to hover a bit closer and press it. Okay, and previously on the Note 4 and older, wherever you press the button, the menu, this context error command window, would pop up right where the you can see that little hover cursor would appear. Samsung has moved it to the left and the right now. It's a lot more subtle, it's not in your way, although it does kind of make the rest of the screen a blurred background, which is not really a bad thing, but if I do it over to the left, it opens on the left side instead. So from here you have some stuff like Action Memo, which is just taking a simple note, just like on the black screen, so I'm not going to go through that. This is like a rather old feature that's been out for a while with the notes. That's like the main thing. Smart Select is basically you're selecting a screenshot, but a certain portion of it. As you can see, I've taken a screenshot of the icons just below here. And of course then you have the ability to save it. You can write on it, you can share it, save in your scrapbook. Scrapbook is pretty much where all your miscellaneous pictures and screen captures like this are stored into. It's just an app exclusive from Samsung, or you can save it in your gallery. So let's just go back. The next feature we'll go to is Screen Write. This is basically the phone taking a quick screenshot of what you currently have, and then you can start writing on it, like YouTube. Now, it may look like I'm still writing on the screen, but I'm not. You'll notice that the live wallpaper has actually stopped moving. This is actually a screenshot. So if I press the back, you're going to notice that the live wallpaper is going to start animating with the water, especially down here. Discard. And as you can see now, it's there's a motion. So it's actually a screenshot, not writing on the screen itself. The next one is S Note. Now this is like the primary note-taking app itself. This is where you can actually access all your notes in an app called S Note. So from here, as you can see, I have no notes currently, but this is where all of them would start storing up as you keep taking more and more notes. Now another new function that's been added is of course add shortcuts. This is where you can actually add a custom shortcut, so any application that you want in particular to open up quickly. So let's say for example Air Miles. Keep track of my points. If you're in Canada, you might know what that is. So there you have Air Miles. So if I just tap on it, it'll open up quickly, but I don't want to get into my point system. So just to let you guys know, I'm not going to actually go over Android features. This is more exclusive features for the Note. So I'm going to try to stick with more just Samsung made features. So let's go over some of the more basic stuff and then get back into some of the more fun stuff. So for example, if you swipe over to the left, this is when you get it out of the box. You have this flipboard. It's basically like a news app. You can sign up to more. If you don't want this to show up at all, what you can do is long press on your wallpaper, and you're gonna get this kind of a shown up menu here at the bottom. And if you swipe over to the left, you can actually uncheck it at the top. So if I go back, tap, if I try to swipe to the left, there's nothing there. Again, this is the more basic Android functions. You can select your wallpaper, you can select widgets, you can select themes. Now themes other devices do have this feature, like I believe LG and HTC have this built in, but this is more exclusive Samsung features. So you can get more from the theme store, but if you just go to one of the default built-in ones like Space, this is actually going to change your entire Android device pretty much. So I downloaded it, installed the theme, and now it's just applying it to the core system. And some of the functions if you enable. So if you enable touch sounds, like I'm pressing the back button, it actually has its own exclusive touch sounds. I've actually disabled them so you won't be able to hear them, but they're not a major deal anyway. But you'll notice that a lot of the icons have changed. So even Play Store icons are still visible, but they have like this kind of flowery space background. But it's not limited to just your home screen. Even like the color of the notification bar, the color of your main system settings menu has changed. These are like real themes. You no longer have to flash from XDA developers. And lastly on the home screen, while long pressing it, if you press screen grid, again this is nothing major, but you can choose how many icons you want per a screen. So you can do 4x4, 4x5, 5x5, so nothing special there. This is how many icons will just basically show up on your screen at a given time. So let's go over to the camera, because I don't want to go through all the boring stuff in one go. So you can enable this feature that if you double tap the home button, you'll instantly open up the camera, like so. It's like near instant. This and the Galaxy S6 are probably the fastest devices in the market right now to open up the camera if you enable this feature. So I'll show you again. Double tap. Okay, so while on the camera app, you actually have a few functions available. The interface is very clean, probably one of the cleanest on a Galaxy device, but you still have all the exclusive Samsung features, a lot of them. So for example, if you go to this gear icon here, this is basically your quality settings. Geolocations, quick launch is the double tap the home button function I just used, voice control. These are the basic functions you can find in most devices and camera apps. HDR, flash, so on and so forth. Those are the boring, generic things. Now it's a bit hard to see, but there's a button here, let me show you guys, called Mode. So if I tap that, this is where you have a lot of the main fun selections available. So Pro mode is basically a manual mode. Basically you can adjust the, so this is the shutter speed, exposure levels, ISO, the light balance, and this is kind of like the distance of what you're trying to focus on, and some other color functions I probably never use ever. I'm not going to go through all of these, half of them are kind of boring. Selective focus is like trying to copy a DSLR, making the background blurry or the foreground blurry. It doesn't really work that well. It doesn't work well on any cell phone. Panorama is pretty self-explanatory. Video collage is pretty self-explanatory. A new function is live broadcast, which is basically live broadcasting to YouTube. Slow motion is slow motion. Now fast motion, obviously that's not too common. Basically all it does is record a clip and then fast forward it when you play it back. You can adjust the speed to make it super fast or a little bit faster, but that's all it does. Virtual shot is basically, I'm not going to demonstrate it, it's one of the most useless functions you could ever find. It's basically you have an object, so here's a Note 4 for example, and positioning it here, and I would just record around it. That's all it does. That's the exact same thing as you recording a video, pressing the record button and recording around it. Because it doesn't work anywhere. It's pretty useless. Anyway, download is actually pretty awesome because you can actually go through the Samsung Galaxy Store and download additional features. So for example, if I'm not mistaken, from the Galaxy S3 you have dual camera mode. This basically allows you to use the front and rear cameras at the same time and take a picture of both cameras or record a video on both cameras. So you have these features from previous Galaxy devices which still work great, but you have the option if you want to download them now or later or not at all. Now switching over to front-facing camera. There I am. Hey, what's going on guys? So you have pretty much the same functions on the left. You have the gear icon for quality settings and whatnot. And of course if you go to beauty, basically what this tries to do is make you look a little bit better than you actually are. I guess that's kind of a mean thing to say. Anyway, but you can adjust larger eyes, slim face. It doesn't work that well. It's pretty artificial. It's a digital feature. It doesn't work well. Some other phones try to copy that function. It doesn't work well for them either. So there are some features in here basically. So for example, you see this yellow circle that's basically going to be around my face. It's basically the camera detecting my face. So when it does that, and if I raise my palm, an open palm in front of the camera, so let's try this out right now, it's going to do a countdown timer to take a picture. So it recognizes my palm, it's taking a picture, boom. So that's a way to take a selfie, but on a timer basis. It's about like 2 seconds. You also have the mode feature available here too. Wide selfies, basically a panorama selfie. So if you have a group of people you can't fit in a panorama, you'll see here at the top that it'll actually allow you to make a panorama of a group. Pretty cool. And it works pretty decent, it's okay. Now, so I'm going to go over some of the apps available. Now, I just want to mention one thing that's very, well, actually not that important, but something you guys might be a little disappointed about. Samsung has removed the IR blaster from the Note 5. So basically, an IR Blaster allows you to use your smartphone as a remote control for your TV, your media player, your Blu-ray player, if they're supported. Samsung decided to remove it from the Note 5 because they said that, well, not a lot of people use it, so what's the point? You know, being a tech geek, I was kind of disappointed by it, but you know what, they have a point. I almost never use my phone as a remote because it's just too slow to unlock it, find the remote app, and then start using it. So while listing in the apps, so the app drawer basically is over here. You have the ability to sort it through A to Z, so alphabetical order of your apps. You can hit edit, which basically just allows you to hit a minus. These are downloaded apps and it'll just uninstall them. That's all it does, nothing too fancy here. Now if you go to S Note, that's the place where all your notes are stored, which I mentioned earlier with the S Pen stylus. S Planner is just the calendar, that's all it is. Instead of calling it calendar, they call it S Planner. S Health is basically your health app. A lot of it is, the stuff here is gimmicky, is your steps count, your pedometer rather, stress levels and whatnot, and you have your heart rate measuring tool. So basically the heart rate sensor is actually located just here below the flash. So I'm going to put my index finger there, you're going to see a red light come up. See, it's starting to read my heart rate. It works okay. It's still a phone. I wouldn't trust it that much, but it works better than last year's model. It's much faster to read. So of course, one function that came out a while back, a few years ago with the Galaxy S device is S-Voice, which is basically the voice action app. So let's open it up. What is the weather in Brampton today? I personally don't like it. I find
Looks like it's cloudy with a temperature of 17 degrees today.
It's a little bit faster than it was before in previous devices, but I find that Google Now is still faster. You can also set your own custom wake-up commands. You can record for, so, hi Galaxy. And you saw it open, but there was a lag to it. As mentioned, it's not that fantastic. So we're slowly getting into what people might consider the boring section of the tips and tricks, but it's actually where you can really customize a device a lot. So let's start with the notification drawer. Samsung has made one drastic change that's been really important to me. You'll notice, if you're familiar with Samsung devices, there's no Quick Connect or S Finder here. It's clean. Finally, you can remove that annoying thing because it made the notification bar this much bigger. It was almost half the screen. So while your notification drawer is pulled down, you can actually slide over to find more actions and commands, but if you hit edit, you can actually edit the order and what's going to appear. So as you can see, these things are hidden, these are active, and I can arrange the order by holding and dragging around and switching. So enable S Finder or disable S Finder and Quick Connect. It's just simply here. See, check mark them. Now they're going to reappear right there. So they're a little bit smaller than they were in the previous Galaxy devices, but they're still annoying in there, but you can remove them. The only thing you can't remove is the brightness control. Kind of disappointed, but not a big deal. Now when using the stock video player app that came with the device from Samsung itself, you actually have some cool options available to you. While playing a video, you actually have the ability to pinch and zoom into that video. So just pinch and zoom. This is a 4K video recorded with the Note 5 itself. And if I were to do just a simple tap and do pop-up, what it basically does is allow the window to continue playing in the background while I'm just simply navigating through on my device. And yes, the Note devices are the series of phones that started true multitasking. If you long press the multitasking button, you have the ability to bring up multi-windows. So if you press Google Chrome, Play Store, I have true multitasking working right now. I have two apps open at the same time, and they work very fluid together. I'm able to navigate through different functions while both of them are still working fully. So I can browse the web on one, I can open Google Maps on the bottom if I wanted to. You can play with some combinations. This can actually be accessed in a different method if you press just from any screen here, the multitasking button without long pressing it like this. If you simply just tap on it as is, you'll have these like double boxes here. On some applications, not all, so basically the phone contacts you can't do it, but on Google Chrome and Play Store you see you have that option available. So if I do it on the gallery, I have it available, and now it's looking for another app that has multitasking function, so I can do Google Play. So I have the gallery and Play Store open at the same time in multi-window function. So going into the main system settings menu, clicking this gear icon, you actually have up here a search function. Now this is, I know people are going to think this is part of Android, but technically Samsung made this feature before Google implemented it in Android. So I can basically type something like NFC, and it will try to search your entire device for anything related to NFC. Mostly system settings and core Samsung apps. So the reason I'm showing this is because technically Samsung brought it to Android and their devices before Google did. Quick settings is basically shortcuts to any of these settings here. You can just click edit, and then you can just check mark up to 9 of them, and it's just basically quick shortcuts up here. That's all it is. Okay, so the system settings menu, if you go over to more connection settings, you have a couple of exclusive features here. Now the first, of course, is Mirror Link, which basically allows you to mirror your Android device to a car via USB connection, but the car has to support it and it has to have a screen. I don't find that to be too practical nowadays. One thing that's really exclusive to Samsung devices is Download Booster. If you enable it, you can combine your Wi-Fi and LTE speeds together to download files off the internet that are 30 megabytes in size or bigger, but you can't download Google Play apps. Just keep that in mind. There is another setting, a connection setting, which previously, if you couldn't find it, if it was a little difficult to find, you would just type in search screen mirror, and then you would enable it, and you can mirror whatever's on your Android device or Samsung device to your screen if it supports Miracast, if your TV does. It's a little bit difficult to find now. It's nowhere in the system settings menu. For the life of me, I can't find it. I found a workaround to it. So you go to gallery. So let's go to this weird selfie I took with that palm. So when opening a picture or video and viewing it in the gallery, don't play it. Just just tap the screen, hit share. And you have at the bottom here screen mirroring. Once you do that and you enable it with your TV, as I'm showing you guys now, you're able to screen anything you want on your Android device to your TV or media player if it supports Miracast mirroring. So that's the workaround you have to use to enable it, which is kind of annoying, but yes, it is built into the Note 5. It's just a bit difficult to find. I hope Samsung fixes that. So going down the list a bit more, if you go to sounds and notifications, this is not a major deal, but I don't see it very often, so I'll mention it. If you go to vibrations, you can actually set the vibration intensity. You can actually control how forceful you want the vibration to be. I'm pretty sure some people make some crude jokes about that, but it's gotta mention it because it's not very common to find. Display, there's not much going on here, but you do have one-handed operation. Basically, if you hit the home button 3 times in a row, so let's allow that. 1, 2, 3. And you basically have a right-handed or left-handed mode. So if you tap that, it'll go over to the left side. And the screen has become a lot smaller. So let's hit the back button to show you guys. You're still retaining the small screen, but I'm actually able to navigate through it just like that. Now, Smart Stay, basically what it does is it keeps your device screen on as long as you're looking at it. No matter which Galaxy device I've ever reviewed, I could never get this to work for the life of me. And I tried it with my glasses on, without my glasses on. I tried it with different people holding it, and I'm nowhere near the device. It has never worked. I don't even know why it's present, but I can't demonstrate it because it never works for me. Screen mode has these different settings like adaptive display. So this is basically what I tend to leave it on, depending on what you're using and what app. So if you're opening the gallery, for example, the screen saturation and color saturation will adjust to what you're looking at. AMOLED Cinema is more like a movie setting. It's just flat. It won't change to adaptive like the top one. AMOLED Photo is photo. Basic is basic. Very dull. I suggest leaving an adaptive display. It works great. Okay, so going back to the system settings menu and switching over to S Pen. Now we're going to go over to Air Command, which is some very, very basic controls. You have the ability to manage your shortcuts from here, as I had demonstrated earlier. You have floating icons, so basically if I press the button, the S Pen menu will come up. Now when it's not pressed, you'll notice that there's nothing here on the left or the right, but if I tap that, you have the menu come up, so let's activate it and close it. And there it's always floating and available, so you can always just tap that instead. So detach the S Pen to enable. Well, basically as soon as you detach the S Pen from the phone, it'll bring up the floating Air Command window. Air View is essentially like a preview. So if, let's say you have multiple appointments on one calendar event, if you just hover above it when you have the cursor visible, it will give you like a preview of multiple events. If you hover above an album, it gives you preview pictures. It's just basically a quick preview to more options that are available if you were to tap it, basically. So basically, direct pen input basically allows you to hover over a text area, start typing in, and the phone will try to convert it into a digital text. It'll try to read your handwriting and convert it to a digital text. Pointer is basically the cursor that appears, so if I turn it off, it might be difficult for you guys to see, so I'll give it closer. There's nothing here. I'm really close to the screen, but if I turn it on, it's actually hovering around now. Screen off memos, basically when I showed you guys if I eject the S Pen while the screen is off, I can take a quick memo really quickly. Moving those a little bit further, S Pen alerts is basically if you're walking away from your S Pen stylus, the phone will alert you that hey, you're walking without your S Pen stylus, don't forget it. S Pen's power saver mode is just basically taking the S Pen alerts and basically disabling detection while the S Pen is attached. S Pen sound is basically sounds related to the S Pen stylus and vibration when you attach it or press a button on the S Pen stylus and stuff like that. So going back, motions and gestures is just some quick motions and gestures that you can have. So for example, if you're looking at say a text message of a certain contact or a number or a contact page in your address book or phone book rather, if you just put the phone to your ear, it'll just call them directly. Smart alert basically is when your phone is on a flat level surface, not moving, and suddenly you pick it up. If you have some sort of notification pending, the phone will vibrate, so you know that you should turn on the screen and look at all your available notifications. If your phone is flat on a surface, if you just simply hover your hand above it, more closer to the front-facing camera of course, if there's an alarm buzzing or there's a call coming in, it'll just mute it. Or you can just turn the phone upside down on that flat surface to mute it. Palm swipe to cover basically allows you to swipe your palm rather across the entire screen to take a screenshot. So let's do that really quickly. So there, I just took a screenshot, but I noticed that sometimes when I do that, I swipe over icons or open an app or something. I just use the S Pen stylus to take a screenshot instead. So going down just a little bit more to lock screen and security. So basically here we have the improved fingerprint scanner. So previously on the Galaxy Note 4, last year's model, it worked okay. You basically had to swipe your finger down and it worked alright, but it's kind of annoying. Samsung has improved it greatly, so basically now all I have to do is hold, so let's say my index finger is not registered, it won't allow me to unlock it, or anyone else for that matter. My thumb is, I just gotta hold it for about a second and it unlocks. The fingerprint detection on this model is vastly superior to last year's model. So going back to privacy and safety, we have something called private mode, which basically allows you to hide certain things within your gallery, video, music app, voice recorder, stuff like that, even your files, certain directories. So the way this works is that you basically turn it on. It's going to require some sort of security. So I have my fingerprint scanner already enabled for my lock screen, so I'm going to use that. So right now private mode is enabled, and you basically have an auto disable function, which basically it disables private mode when the screen is off, but we don't care about that. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to go to my gallery. So let's say I want to hide my Instagram album. So I'm going to long press it, more, move to private. So you notice there's like this tiny little lock icon here. So it's still visible though. So let's say I want to hide it. So let's go back. So basically private mode is on. So let's turn it off. Anything that I hid now cannot be accessed. So let's go here. If I go to gallery, my Instagram album is now gone. To get access back to it, I have to enable private mode. It requires a security of some kind. In my case, it's the fingerprint scanner, and there's Instagram. So I'm gonna remove this back to normal. So there's also an SOS mode. If you tap on it, basically if this is on and you triple tap the power button, so 3 times in a row quickly, it'll send a message. And if you enable also, you can also enable picture and audio recording to your emergency contact, whoever that might be. Easy mode is essentially, well, it is what it says. It's an easy mode, so I'm going to turn it on. Basically what this does is make icons very large, like huge, as you can see. And you don't have many to choose from. You have a page for quick contacts. You don't have many apps to choose from. It's just literally an easy mode. This is what I call grandparent mode, but it basically makes the device a lot easier to use. Now previously, stuff within the Vision menu used to be exclusive to Samsung devices. Google has actually copied or mimicked or adopted, whatever you want to call it, a lot of these functions. So they're no longer really exclusive to Samsung. So for example, let's see if I just do this, enable, and if I triple tap anywhere, I can pretty much zoom in and I can zoom out. So this has actually been included in a lot more other Android devices. Google has kind of picked it up. So I'm not going to really go through that anymore because that's stock Android pretty much. If you go over to hearing though, there are some things a little bit different. So for example, you have sound detector, which basically is a baby crying monitor detector or doorbell detector, which I personally find useless because you want to have your phone near you anyway. It's there, but I honestly don't see the big deal about it. Flash notifications will flash the camera flash whenever you're receiving notifications. Everything else is pretty much back to basics of Google. Now switching over to dexterity and interaction, universal switch is something I could never figure out. It basically allows you to use certain motions of your blinking of your eyes and stuff to control the device. I could never get it to work for the life of me, so I'll skip out of that. Assistant menu, basically, well, let's turn it on. So basically you have this little hover window here. If I tap on it, you have quick shortcuts, right? So right now it's set to my dominant hands being right. Let's change it over to left. It's going to snap to the left. Okay, so switch it back to the right. Of course, you can re-edit what do you want within this menu from here, similar to your notification bar at the top, just like that. Okay, so back within dexterity and interaction, if you do gesture wake up, what this basically allows you to do is that while the device is on a flat surface and the screen is off, if you kind of hover your hand above the front-facing camera, it'll just wake up the screen. It's just an easy way to see your notifications quickly here. Okay, so let's switch over, still in dexterity and interaction, switch over to direction lock. This is just basically another form of a lock screen. I'm not sure why it's here. I think it should be under lock screen and security type, but basically if you turn it on, so do my fingerprint, and basically you can draw like a type of series of commands. So let's do 1, 2, 3. I have to do another one. Okay, so 2 right, up 2. So continue. 1, 2, 1, 2. Confirm. And let's put in any password. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to turn off the screen. Turn it back on. Now I have to draw the series of actions in order to unlock the screen. So I have to do 1, 2, 1, 2. And then it unlocks the screen. If I were to do, say, left, left, up, or whatever, if it's wrong, it won't unlock the screen. So going back to the main system settings menu, now battery saving mode is something that is in stock Android, but originated with Samsung, something they started before Google picked it up. So if you go to battery, you not only have one battery saving mode, but you have 2. So regular battery saving mode just basically minimizes CPU performance. The touch light keys here at the bottom, they're not as effective as normal. Nothing really like too drastic. So if you go back, in ultra power saving mode, this basically puts everything to a grayscale, and basically gives you some warnings that your phone will not operate its usual way. It'll turn off like mobile data, Wi-Fi connectivity will be restricted. It's gonna basically reduce the performance of the phone like crazy. As you can see, you have no colors. Everything is just extremely simplified, and the battery performance will be greatly increased, but the performance of the phone will be reduced to pretty much, well, nothing. So certain apps, not all, are supported by this function. So if you pinch, not pinch rather, but if you drag from the top left or right corner, so let's do from here, you can actually minimize the window. And you see it's been reduced in size, and you actually have the ability to shrink it down to this small. And if I just bring it up, it's just like a floating window, as you can see. Now, when you tap the circle icon right here, you actually have some different functions that show up. This first one is not that useful. Basically, if you tap on it, what it basically does is it selects text within the current window, and then you can paste it into another app. That's all. The other one is basically shrink it down into a little icon right here. So this is my galleries floating around. Again, it's just always on top. So tap it back, it'll open back up. And of course, X is to close the app, and the one before that is to make it full screen again. So that's pretty much the tips and tricks you can do with the Galaxy Note 5. It has extremely simplified interface. Like this is the best version of TouchWiz. Right now I'm using my home launcher though, so I changed it while recording. But it has the most simplified version of TouchWiz, and I actually find it more useful and enjoyable to use in stock Android, like on Nexus devices, for example. But if you want more details about the general performance and is it worth the money in your opinion, be sure to check out the review video, a comparison to the Note 4, camera sample video, gaming demo video, a whole bunch of other videos regarding the Note 5. You can find links to those videos in the video description. Be sure to check out my Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Instagram links also in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.